So this morning, another article pops up on that big conspiracy website, and for the last couple months, I've been getting messages that said that everything they report on is true, but when the final story comes down, it gets twisted a little bit. So they're like, I think the story's headline was something to the effect, could Google be building a data center? And I poked around a little bit, and they said it could be a data center for Google Glass. But as always, the main headline for the story was missed. Look at this structure. They don't have a permit yet to float it. They said in order to float it, they need to get a permit that says what it does. They said they could build it on land, but they got to get a permit to float it. So check this out. Here's what I think is going on. I worked in the industry for about half a year. I worked for the #1 computer retailer. This is quite a while ago. And they were trying to redevelop their business model to be successful. They had hired the main vice president for Home Depot to come work for him. And they gave him a gold parachute, and he invested a little bit of money in the company, and then after 6 months he jumped out. But it was a great job because every day I could go to work and I could pick the minds of some of the people that work in the computer field every day, and I learned an awful lot about computers. So that's the main story that you're getting here. Google gets patent for data center barges. Here's another one. Mysterious floating barge in San Francisco Bay could be secret new Google Glass facility. And here's a story that you're not going to read as to what I think it is. And you've been hearing all the fear mongering, U.S. is going to have a civil war, blah, blah, blah. I think this is going to be Google's data ark. Like, I think that Google has some inside information about what's being planned in the United States, and possibly the grid going down, or them losing their Google's worried about them losing their infrastructure, so they're going to build a data ark. They're going to put all their servers in cargo containers and maybe build a huge backup of one of their data centers, and they can incorporate the Google Glass into it. But you can bet that they're going to have Google Glass facilities all over the U.S., and that's going to become part of their infrastructure. But what we're seeing here is a data ark. They're going to take all their infrastructure and add the Google Glass or whatever on their most current backbone. They're going to dump it in this barge, and they said they're going to tow it over to San Francisco Bay. But they may tow it out to the middle Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean. Just leave it there. Wait for the U.S. economy to collapse or whatever, or the U.S. to get nuked by the Russians, and then come right on back home. And then they can keep the infrastructure in place for a long time. And that's what they're planning on, is keeping their infrastructure in place. Post your comments, what you think. Do you think it's a data ark? Do you think it's some new Google Glass server or what? Post what you think in the comments.